You obviously love listening to podcasts. Well, have you tried an audiobook? Hi, I'm Kim, and I am an audiobook listener. It's actually my preferred way to, quote unquote, read. And if you haven't tried listening to one yet, go to www.fromringtoveil.com/freebook to get a free audiobook from Audible. I may have just given you your new obsession.
I'm Shannon.
And I'm Kim.
And you are listening to From Ring to Veil,
a wedding planning podcast,
where we share tips and information to help you plan the wedding of your dreams.
Without all the stress.
Destination Weddings, Whidbey Island, episode number 106.
If you'd like to support us, please check out our Patreon page at fromringtoveil.com/give.
Are you subscribed to the show? Well, don't miss one if you're not. Subscribe to From Ring to Veil anywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you don't know how, let us know and we'll help you out.
Today we have a special guest host here to help us kick off our series on destination weddings. Tobey Nelson of Tobey Nelson Events and Designs.
Tobey, who has a BS in Landscape Horticulture, decided to move from designing gardens to designing events. 20 years of floral and garden experience has given her a unique skill and has helped her achieve her dreams of celebration planning. Welcome, Tobey.
Hi, thanks for having me.
We're very, very excited to have you here.
Yeah.
You're here to help us start our series on destination weddings. And we're lucky enough to find you, and you do destination weddings for a place here in Washington.
Yeah.
Which I think is super cool.
Yeah, for sure.
What makes Whidbey Island, which is where you do your stuff here, what makes it a great destination for a wedding?
Well, Whidbey's a great spot because if you're not from here, it's a beautiful place to go to. And if you're from here, it's still beautiful, but it's also convenient. Mm-hmm. And because it's close to Seattle, a lot of people have friends and relatives that have never visited the Seattle area and the Puget Sound. So it's a great excuse to come here and have a wedding, but also celebrate this corner of the nation, which is so beautiful and so rich.
Right.
Absolutely.
So what type of venues are there on Whidbey Island?
We have barn venues and a lot of wineries. I should say that I specialize mostly in the south end of Whidbey. Mm-hmm. So that's just a little preface because it's 71 miles long.
Right.
Yeah, I just hang out on that south end. Yeah. So there's a few different barns and wineries. And of course, a lot of people do like a private home wedding and do a waterfront. We have some beautiful parks that people can get married at. That's not the best spot for the reception, of course, but then you can take your reception either to one of the local restaurants or to one of the great barns or winery venues that we have.
What are some of your favorites?
I love Dancing Fish Farm.
Okay.
That's in Freeland. And I also love Comfort Winery a lot. And Fireseed is great. They were probably one of the pioneers of the wedding industry on Whidbey Island, so we all have to give them a lot of thanks.
Mm-hmm. How is planning for a destination wedding different than just planning a local wedding?
When you are planning a destination wedding, you need to think a little bit more about your guests and probably give them a little bit of help. So you want to think about their travel plans and their lodging and what they're going to do. So I recommend when you're doing a destination wedding that you start your planning as soon as possible and you get those save the date cards out really early so that people can start to block out the time on their calendars that they might need to come that extra distance. I also think it's really smart to use your wedding website to convey information about the lodging and the transportation that will be involved in someone having a getaway wedding. And then once you get farther into the planning, you can start to give people ideas for what they want to do and see when they're there. You can include maps. So it's not always on the couple to have to like pay or coordinate for those things, but I think that it is on the couple to help their guests be prepared with information at the ready so they know where to go looking.
Would you recommend them hiring a planner first?
I think that's really helpful to have a local planner that can at least help them get an idea for what's close to their venue, what makes sense to recommend to do in a day or not to do, how to combine maybe different events with activities for your guests.
Okay.
And plus, then you have somebody that can help you do it. Because
Right.
planning a wedding has so many details, as you folks well know.
Right.
Yes.
And some are fun and some aren't. So I commonly will help people build that page on their website of where to go and what to see. And yeah.
Cool. So I have a question here. You actually are a planner.
I actually am a planner.
And you help people plan weddings. So if somebody who does not live here
Yep.
wants to plan a wedding
Sure.
on Whidbey Island,
Yep.
and you are a wealth of information for her or them, do you prefer them to come visit so you can show them everything, or can it be done just by distance?
It can be done by distance. It's funny. I mean, I have several couples that I don't meet until like the week of their wedding when they come. Or I'll meet them on Skype. You know, we do like
Right.
the iPhone version of Skype, whatever that is.
FaceTime.
So FaceTime, yeah. So I have people that I've met virtually or over the phone. Most people that get married on Whidbey
Yeah.
have a pre-existing connection there, but certainly not everyone. So, I mean, we can work however it works for the couple. I can take video clips and send them to the folks so they can get a feel for what the place is like. Of course, web searches are really helpful because so many venues represent themselves online, and that's easy to see. So,
Okay, I was just thinking, if I didn't live here, how would I do it?
right.
It's
Yeah.
you would have to have a planner.
Yeah. I mean, if you can come visit, that's best.
Of course.
And some people have family that are here, so the mom or the cousin or somebody will come and take the tour on their behalf. So,
Nice.
yeah, lots of ways it can work.
So on the island, you have your preferred vendors. I'm assuming you know all the vendors there. You can help the
Yep.
couple choose who to pick.
Yep.
When you have a couple, do they mostly want to pick like the local vendors?
I encourage people to do that. It used to be, I mean, this is now probably 10 years ago, that people thought that there weren't quality providers, that because Whidbey was out of the city, that it was just this like podunk backwater
right.
and that there wasn't anything worth having there. And that's totally not the case. We have a number of beautiful small farms on the island, both flower and food. And so coming along with that, there are several caterers on the island that can do a farm to table experience that's fantastic. And, people don't have to get so elaborate, but there's still really great caterers, of course, very skilled florists on the island with lots of locally grown blooms right there at the ready. We have very talented photographers, and yeah, it's all there. There's not much
really
that you need
cool.
to bring. Yeah.
Is there anything that's not on the island?
I mean, I don't know of a magician. There's plenty of music. We have a photo booth. So I think,
cool.
there's a lot there.
You could totally do everything you
You
needed.
could do a full-on Whidbey wedding. And most of the weddings I do, I mean, because we have the ferry complication, which isn't epic, but it's something to consider. I really like to work with the local people because they are real familiar with how that works. And I don't have any issues when I work with my local vendors.
Right.
That's really cool that
Plus
you could
it's-
just do everything there.
That is what's special. I mean, come to the place and celebrate the place
Yeah,
and celebrate that
exactly.
which is special about the place. And then it feels more unique.
Exactly.
yeah.
And that's going to be a wedding as a guest you're going to remember.
Right. And it's more of a treat for a destination wedding to give people something that is unique to that place,
Right.
I mean, we have so many franchises in the world
True.
that it's sameville everywhere. So
Right.
it's wonderful to celebrate the things that are different when you're in a place like that.
What kind of things can a couple do either with their guest or have their guests do while they're visiting the island?
Oh my gosh. So there's a lot to do. It kind of depends on what someone's interests are, but certainly there's so much natural beauty on the island. So there's like a cycling rental place that can take you on a tour or tell you where to go. You can rent bicycles. There's a little scooter rental place that you can do. Of course, you can charter a boat. Whidbey Island Kayak Company, you can rent kayaks and either be toured or not. And there's birding, if more natural activities, hiking, and of course beaches. Hello, lots of beaches to walk. But if that's not your bag, there's wineries. So the Whidbey Island Vintners and Distillers have a wine tour that you can do that's a self-guided tour of different wineries, distilleries, and breweries. So you can go tasting. There's
Yeah,
a lot
that's
of
nice.
artists on the island that have open studios. And of course, there are galleries and shops galore that you can visit. So there's plenty to keep people busy.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
That would be really fun. Like, let's do something out there. That'd be fun.
And of course, the Langley Chamber of Commerce usually has an event every month that if your wedding coincides with that event, there's also that layer of fun for your guests, be it the mystery weekend or the fair or music festival, things like that. So there's a lot happening on Whidbey.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, make it on the same weekend and then have a full weekend full of fun.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, that's something that when I'm helping a couple plan their wedding on Whidbey, I like to help them look at the weekend that they've chosen and what's happening there so that we can give the appropriate travel advisory to their guests, both to like, hey, come early and help us celebrate this or that on the island, or, oh, because it's the Island County Fair weekend, ferry lines are going to be heavy. Make sure you
Right.
allow extra time, or you might want to stay an extra weekend and celebrate this or that, or, to help make their guests' vacation be extra fun, but also really seamless and smooth.
Right.
So you were talking about staying. So what places are there on Whidbey to stay?
Well, on South Whidbey, we have the Inn at Langley, the Saratoga Inn, the Langley Hotel. There's a hotel in Freeland. I can't think of their name, but there's a lot of other little hotels. And then there's the Whidbey Island B&B Association is a great resource because you can find lots of great spots that are tucked away in cool places that you would never find if you were just looking at a hotel. Hotels are easy if you have a big group. There's a great guest house called the Quintessa that sleeps 32.
Wow.
So if you want to have like a family reunion layer to your wedding, that's a great spot. Or like a big friends reunion. That's a great spot because everybody can stay real close to each other and have fun. And it makes helping your guests' transportation a little bit easier. And then, of course, VRBOs are also really popular.
Are there a lot there on the
There's
island?
a lot on the island.
Okay.
Yeah. But again, like it's a limited pool. So that's something to communicate to your guests quickly is to get that lodging lined up.
Right.
Yep.
Even just for us living here, like vacation, that'd be an awesome place to go to visit for the weekend or
yeah.
even the week.
Yeah.
And find a vacation rental.
Yeah, for sure. Lots of beautiful places to stay.
What are some of the more unique things that you guys have done out there with weddings?
I like to see people get married on the beach. I think that's really quintessential, Pacific Northwest.
The beach is my happy place. So
Yeah, totally. And there's also beautiful forests. Another thing is for fun if anybody's planning a destination elopement to the Whidbey Island boat charter company. You can charter a boat and you and your small group can go out and get married in some spot in the middle of the water,
Wow, yeah.
pick like a sunset cruise and get married with the island backdrop in the sunset. Talk about gorgeous photos.
yeah.
That's super fun.
And then you might see some
well,
whales
And-
or sea lions or whatever's out there.
Yeah, porpoises, lots
That's
of
so
good
cool.
stuff. Yeah.
And it's really neat because it is an island, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
for
it's like
sure.
it's totally its own place.
Yep.
And there's water all around it. So I imagine the photo ops everywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere you turn, you pretty much have a great place to take a photo.
It's true. And, we all know that photos are what prompt your memory, right? So we've heard that kind of research that when you have a picture of something, you're more likely to remember the occasion because of that. And so I always tell people to, definitely invest in your photography for your wedding. And so with my Whidbey Island couples, there's that whole like to do the first look or not.
right.
But on Whidbey, I think you should do a first look. And I think you should allow some time and you should go to one of those amazing destinations. And I've had a couple last summer that didn't want to see each other, but they wanted those shots. So they did a special photo session shoot the day after the wedding. And then they had that special time with themselves on their first day of marriage in these beautiful scenic shots. And the results were beautiful, completely stunning.
I bet. So I'm just wondering about price. Is it different if you're doing a destination as opposed to finding your local vendors?
Well, I think some of that depends on the kind of hosting that the couple may or may not be able to or want to do. Sometimes people feel that they need to help fly out key guests.
Right.
Or provide lodging for some of the key guests, so that can change. I know that Whidbey's vendor prices are competitive with those in the greater Seattle area.
Okay.
So just to come to Whidbey for your wedding isn't going to mean you have a more expensive wedding.
Right.
You may not stay at a hotel if you were to get married in your hometown. You might go back home that night. So there might be a few added costs. But I don't think it's inherently more expensive to have a wedding on Whidbey than it would be to be in greater Seattle.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good explanation.
Because, I mean, everybody thinks a destination wedding is going to be expensive because they think, oh, well, I'm going to have to fly out these people or anything like that. But really and truly, it's not their responsibility. It's not really the couple's responsibility to pay for lodging, pay for the flights or anything like that.
Yeah. And, if you're in the position to be able to, that's lovely, but it's certainly not required. I also see with a more destination wedding, sometimes the rehearsal dinner blossoms into a welcome dinner. So that is something to keep in mind as you're planning and have an idea of what sort of experience you want your guests to have. And if you want to host that, and remember to build that into your budget and ask yourself how that fits into your cost structure and if you can afford a welcome dinner, and then, what that looks like. Do you get a picnic shelter at one of the beaches and get drop-off barbecue? Or, you can be casual and have a lot of fun and really celebrate what's Whidbey. And then it keeps that event different from your wedding, but it also allows everyone to really soak up time together. So that's kind of another little difference than a basic in-town wedding.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to have probably a big welcome dinner if you're just getting married where you live.
Maybe not, yeah.
Unless you have a lot of out-of-town guests.
Yeah, you might if you do. But even still, they would have to come to you for that anyway.
Right.
So it wouldn't, I don't know that it would make much difference if they were coming to where you live as opposed to going to Whidbey Island, you know? Other than you have to wait for the ferry.
Yeah, which you're going to do for the wedding anyway.
Yes.
So get there a day early and soak it up and stay there that night. One thing I will add, I've had a couple couples that work with me, but they're down the road into their planning a little bit before they find me. And they recommend, because people look for big hotels, Whidbey doesn't have a lot of big hotels, so sometimes these folks will recommend that their guests stay in Mukilteo. But Mukilteo is a bit of a drive and a ferry ride from any of the venues on Whidbey. And by the time your guests get there, it's a little bit of a buzzkill. And then when they wake up, it's not necessarily the scenic spot. So I really do recommend that the night of the wedding, you recommend to your guests that they find island lodging so that when they wake up, they have a beautiful island morning experience that they can...
In the little towns, they are so quaint and cute, too.
Yeah, for sure. And there's great coffee shops, good brunch spots.
It's very relaxing.
Yeah, for sure. And then you can see your ferry ride home, which is, also scenic and fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just a ferry ride over to Seattle. So if that's what they want to do to waste some time or spend some time, then they can do that. It's not like you can't go to Seattle if you're over there all weekend or whatever. So we're floral designers and you grow your own flowers.
I grow some of my own flowers, yeah. I mean, it's a lot to grow all of your own. But.
Well, yeah. But I was just wondering how that works when you're planning a wedding. Do you offer your floral services also?
I do. I don't require that someone use me as their florist. And if I'm your florist, I don't require you use me as your planner. So I'm kind of open to whatever works. One thing in my own business model, I like to be laid back and flexible. I want that feeling of our island, which is laid back and relaxed, to be the same feeling that people have when they work with me. So I allow them to, choose what works from my sort of menu of services. But back to the flower growing thing, I try to grow a lot of my own kind of greenery and some of the special garnishes, and then have a fun range of flowers. But sometimes the volume or the specific color choices or things like that can be pretty hard. So I have really great relationships with my local farmers to let them be the better skill set and bigger land piece that can provide consistency all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And as probably anybody that has been listening to this show for a while know, that there are tons of beautiful flowers up here.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff you don't just see anywhere.
Yeah.
But they grow, and they grow a lot.
Yeah. We're in a special spot for flowers, for sure.
We are. And it's just so fun.
Yeah.
I love taking pictures of flowers. That's my favorite. So it's just a beautiful place to be.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tobey, for joining us
Thanks
today.
for having me.
Yeah.
And so where can our guest find you?
My website is tobeynelson.com, and I spell it Tobey. That's where I am.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
So when I got married, I didn't even consider a destination wedding. I mean, I guess maybe we didn't have the money, but we were in school. But it just never crossed my mind that, hey, we should just go to Hawaii and get married or whatever, you know?
It crossed my mind about 2 months before our wedding when I didn't want to deal with anything anymore. I was like, Jeremy, let's go to Vegas because I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
And he's like, no.
Well, that shut that down.
Yeah, I would, if I had to do it all over again, it would be me and him on a beach somewhere. That would be it because I wouldn't want to deal with it anymore. Even though I'm in the business, to me, it is kind of a ironic thing. I don't know. I guess I just don't want to deal with it. I can deal with other people's weddings and things like that. That's fine, but I don't want to deal with mine. I'd rather put my emphasis on all of yours and not my own.
Right. Well, I mean, especially after all these years together, I don't know if maybe it was back then when we were, let's say we were younger now and we were just getting married for the first time. It might be, you might have different feelings, but you know, now we have kids and all that kind of stuff that kind of changes things. But if we were to do this again and you did do a destination wedding, you would want to go to Vegas? Where would you go?
Well, no, I just wanted to go to Vegas that one time because I was tired of it and I wanted to get it over with. But I'm, Hawaii, maybe mountains, beaches,
that would be pretty. So you want warm.
Or cold.
Or cold. Oh, I think it would be kind of fun to go to Europe. I mean, I want to go there anyway.
You've got to realize that the wedding laws are different there.
Sure.
And if, maybe it's not valid in the U.S., so you'd have to get married again in the U.S. Some countries are like that, so you have to figure that out.
You definitely have to check that out, for sure.
But I don't know.
I mean, I think probably Whidbey Island would be pretty awesome, too.
It's cool over there.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many places, even just around here, that could be considered a destination.
Yeah, I mean, if you go, I would consider Leavenworth a destination wedding.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Whidbey Island, a destination wedding. Mm-hmm. The coast.
The coast, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say ocean shores specifically, but one of the beaches out there, how awesome would that be?
That's a destination wedding because you have to go there. You have to have facilities to host all your people if you're having guests. And so, anyway.
Yeah. It's fun to dream. I'm always talking about when we renew our vows.
Which you've been talking about that for as long as I've known you.
Well, we will at some point. We're going to renew our vows. But now I'm like, maybe we go somewhere to do it instead of just our backyard or something. So, I have so many contacts and ideas and destinations and all that I can really do it up good. You'll have to help me with that. All right. So remember that you can always reach us anytime by emailing us info@fromringtoveil.com.
Until next time, no stress, no worries. Keep calm and listen on.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. You can find us on Facebook, From Ring to Veil, on Twitter, @FromRingToVeil, and on our website, FromRingToVeil.com.
Music provided by bensound.com.